Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Sheila. In today's tutorial we shall be working on the second part of our dress, which is the top part. For those who haven't yet watched part 1, please check the description box below. I'll be attaching a link to the skirt. And then for today's tutorial we shall be working on the top. But before we begin, if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and subscribe. And yeah, this top has a stretchy bit to it at the top so that it holds the upper part very well. And we shall be working this. It has long sleeves, as I'll be attaching some images as I work. So let's get into the tutorial. For this project you'll need any medium weight yarn. I'll be using gull. This is a fingering yarn, so I'll be doubling my strand, and I'll be using two colors, which are the beige color and the army green. So you'll also need a measuring tape, a 5mm crochet hook, and a pair of scissors. So let's get started. You're going to grab your very first color. Mine will be army green. And we are going to start off by making a slip knot. So after you make your slip knot, you're going to chain up 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And you're going to go into the very first chain that you made with a total of 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, and after this you're going to chain up 2 and then place 3 more double crochets in that same chain. 1, 2, and 3. So after your 3 double crochets you're going to chain up 1 and place 1 last double crochet in that very chain. So we chained 6, placed 3 double crochets in the very first chain, chained 2, placed 3 more double crochets in the same chain, chained 1, and then placed 1 last double crochet in that same chain. So this is what we have right now. And we are working this skirt or this piece from top to bottom. So after this you're going to chain up 1 and cut your yarn. I'll make 1 row of army green, and then I'm going to switch my color to this lighter color. I'll call this color B for this project because I'm sure we are not using the same exact colors. So you're going to turn your work to the opposite side. You see, I worked this row like this, so I'll turn my work and then insert my hook in that very last chain, that very last stitch, and attach my yarn there. I'll just pull through that loop and then chain 1 and make it tight. So that's how I attach my yarn. And then I'm going to chain up 4, which counts as a double crochet, chain 1, and then in this chain 1 space you'll place a total of 3 double crochets, 1, 2, and 3, chain 1. In the chain 2 space you'll place 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets. And then you're going to chain up 1 and go into the very last space with 3 double crochets, chain 1, and 1 last double crochet. So the reason why we are doing this is because it's the same exact thing at the beginning. So at the beginning we do a chain of 4, which counts as a double crochet, chain 1, and at the end we chain 1 and double crochet. So That means we balance the two sides. Whatever you do on this side is exactly what you do on this side. So after this, you're going to chain up 4, turn your work, and this is basically going to be the same exact row as row 2. So after your chain of 4, place 3 double crochets in this very first chain 1 space, and then you're going to chain up 1, and then in this chain 1 space you're going to place 3 double crochets. So every chain 1 space will always get 3 double crochets. Then you're going to chain up 1 and then go into this space. This is a chain 2, and every chain 2 space will get 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets, all in that chain 2 space, like that. And then you're going to chain up 1 and place 3 double crochets in the next chain 1 space, chain 1, and in this very last space you're going to place 3 double crochets, and then you're going to chain 1 and then place 1 last double crochet in that same space. So that's how we end every row, and this is how we begin every row for now. So this is what we are going to have. I'm going to do 2 rows of beige or color B, and my 2 rows are done. I'm going to chain up 1 and cut my yarn. So chain 1, cut your yarn. So we are going back to army green, and we start the next color at that point where we left off with the previous color. So make a slip knot and then insert your hook in this very last stitch, then attach your army green, and then we are going to chain up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, because that's how we begin every row. Then place a total of 3 double crochets in this chain 1 space. That's the very first chain 1 space. And then chain 1, place 3 double crochets in the next chain 1 space, chain 1, 3 double crochets in the next chain 1 space, chain 1, and then this is a chain 2 space, so it will get 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets, all in the same space, like that. And then you're going to chain 1, go into the next chain 1 space with a total of 3 double crochets, chain 1, go into the next chain 1 space with 3 double crochets, chain 1, and in this very last space you're going to go in with 3 double crochets, chain 1, and 1 last double crochet. And now this is row 4 and we are done with it. So we are going to the second row of color A, because I told you from this point we are going to be doing two rows of each color, both color A and color B. So you're going to chain up 3 and then 1 more chain, which is a total of 4. So it's a double crochet, chain 1, turn your work, place 3 double crochets in this very first space. And now something else is going to change. We are going to introduce 2 more corners on row 5. So after this you're going to chain up 1, and then in this space you're going to place 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets. all in that same space. So row 5 is a bit different from the previous rows. So we've introduced another corner here, chain 1, place 3 double crochets in the next chain 1 space, chain 1, place 3 double crochets in the next chain 1 space, chain 1, and now we are at the chain 2 space, and we are going to go in there with a total of 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets, because this is already a corner. This was the corner that was existing. This was the only corner. So 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, and then chain 1. In the next space you're going to place 3 double crochets, chain 1. In the next space you're going to place a total of 3 double crochets, chain 1, and in this space, the second last space, you're going to go in there with 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets, all in that same exact space. So we've introduced our third corner. And then you're going to chain up 1 and go into the last space with 3 double crochets, chain 1, and 1 last double crochet. So this is the end of our 2 rows of army green or color A. You're going to cut your yarn, and now you can see this. We've introduced a corner here and a corner here, and then we already had this corner. So we are no longer making a triangular shape. The shape has changed because we have a corner here and a corner here, and then also a corner at this point. So you're going to grab your next color. You're going to grab your color B, and then you're going to attach it. We are going to do still something a bit different for row 6 onwards. So for row 6, you're going to attach your yarn at this point in this space between the 3 double crochets and this double crochet on its own. There's a space there. You're going to attach your yarn there, and then you're going to chain up 4. And this time, instead of placing 3 double crochets in this space, we are not going to do that anymore. We are going to go into the next chain 1 space with a total of 3 double crochets. The reason why we don't go into this space anymore is because once we introduce corners here, if we start placing those 3 double crochets here, our work is going to go like this, and we want it flat at the top. So you're going to do your 3 double crochets in this next chain 1 space, then chain 1, and this is a corner, so you know what to do for corners. You're going to place 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets, all in the same space. And then you're going to chain up 1, go into the next chain 1 space with 3 double crochets, chain 1, go into the next space with 3 double crochets, chain 1, double crochet 3 times in the next chain 1 space, chain 1. This is a corner, so it will get a total of 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets. Chain 1, place 3 double crochets in the next chain 1 space, chain 1, 3 double crochets in the next chain 1 space, chain 1, 3 double crochets in the next chain 1 space, chain 1. This is a corner, as you can see, so it will get a total of 3 double crochets, chain 2, and then 3 more double crochets in the same space, chain 1, plus 3 double crochets in this next chain 1 space. Then you're going to chain up 1 and go in this last space between the 3 double crochets and the chain. You're going to go in there with 1 last double crochet. So we are trying to balance what we did here onto this side. So this is what you should have. And now we're going to row 7, and we are still using this same exact color. You're going to chain up 3, this time not 4. I'll be explaining why. Chain 3, turn your work, and you're going to place 2 more double crochets in that first space. Remember, it was a chain 1 space, so we chained 3 and that counted as a double crochet, and then place 2 more here to make a total of 3 double crochets. Then you're going to chain up 1, place 3 double crochets in the next chain 1 space, chain 1. This is a corner, so every corner gets 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets, all in the same space. And then you're going to chain up 1, go into the next space with a total of 3 double crochets, chain 1, next chain 1 space. So from now on, every chain 1 space will be getting 3 double crochets, and don't forget to always chain 1 in the middle, and every chain 2 space, which is every corner, will be getting 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets. So like here, this is a corner, so it will get 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets in the same space. So that keeps the corners intact so that we don't distort the shaping of this piece. So you can see there's a corner here, and then there's a corner here as well, and there's a corner here. So we are going to keep repeating that. Chain 1, 3 double crochets, 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 chain 1, 3 double crochets. So this is a corner, so it will get 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets, chain 1, go into the next chain 1 space with 3 double crochets. And when you're coming to the end of this row, you're going to chain up 1, and this is a chain 1 space. Remember, the chain 3 counts as a double crochet, and then chain 1. So this is a chain 1 space. You're going to go in there with a total of 3 double crochets, and I'm going to be showing you why. This is because we also started the row with 3 double crochets, and that means we should end the row with 3 double crochets. What you do on this side is exactly what you do on this side. So after this, you're going to chain up 1 and then cut your yarn. So we are done with color B. We're going back to color A. So going back to color A, you're going to attach your yarn where you left off with color B in that last stitch, and pull this loop through, and then chain up 1 and tighten. So after this, you're going to chain up 4. 1 2 3 4. This counts as a double crochet, chain 1. That's the same exact thing we have 2 rows below. So we are alternating between this row that starts with chain 4 and then the row that starts with 3 double crochets. So that's the repeat. You chain up 4 and then go into the next chain 1 space with a total of 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets in the next, chain 1. This is a corner, so you're going to place a total of 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets, all in that same space. And then you're going to chain 1, go into the next chain 1 space with 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets in the next chain 1 space, chain 1, 3 double crochets in the next chain 1 space, chain 1, 3 double crochets in the next chain 1 space, chain 1, 3 double crochets in the next chain 1 space, chain 1, and this is a corner, so you're going to place 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets, like that. And so you can see our work coming together. We are going to keep repeating that. We're going to go all the way down, place a corner here, and then I'll meet you guys when I'm at the end of this row. Okay, so I'm coming to the end of my row, and as you can see, I'm placing my very last 3 double crochets here, and now we have 3 double crochets here. So you'll chain up 1 and go into that very last stitch on top of the chain 3 and place a double crochet. So we've balanced what we did here and what we did here. It should look the same. So this is a chain 4, which counts as a double crochet, chain 1, and then this is a chain 1 double crochet. That means we've balanced both sides. So for the next row, which is row 9, and we're still on using color A, you're going to chain up 3. As I had told you, it's either this or this, so we're moving from this to this, then from this, which resembles this one, and then the next row should resemble this one. So chain up 3, place 2 more double crochets in that chain space. That will mean we have a total of 3 double crochets here, which is similar to row 7. Yeah, this is row 7. So row 9 is almost the same as row 7. It's actually the same as row 7. So after your 3 double crochets, you're going to chain up 1, place 3 double crochets in the next chain 1 space, chain 1, 3 double crochets in the next chain 1 space, chain 1. This is a corner, so you know what to do for corners. 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets in the next chain 1 space. So we're going to go all the way up and then place a corner at this point, go down, place a corner at this point, and then when you come to the end, you're going to chain 1 and then place a total of 3 double crochets in the very last space, and I'll meet you guys at this point. So I'm coming to the end of this row, and I'm going to chain up 1 and go into the very last chain 1 space with a total of 3 double crochets, and then I'm going to chain up 1 and cut my yarn. So that's the end of this row. So we are going to keep working these rows. So as I had told you, you either start with 3 double crochets or start with a chain 4 and end with chain 1 double crochet. So for this particular piece, you're going to keep working those rows. You're going to keep alternating between row 6 and row 7. You just look at row 6 and see how you started, and that will be the same exact thing that you'll do after doing a row that resembles row 7. So this is row 7 and it will resemble row 9. So from here onwards, every odd row is the same and every even row is the same. All even rows start with chain 4, which counts as a double crochet chain 1, and end with chain 1 double crochet, and every odd row starts with chain 3 and then 3 double crochets in that very first space, and then ends with chain 1, 3 double crochets in that chain 1 space. So I hope I'm clear on that. So we're going to keep working that row until this measurement from this corner to this corner is the measurement from one armpit to the other across your chest. So get a measurement between your armpits, and this should be the measurement when it isn't stretched. So just leave it like this, and for me that measurement is 14 inches. And yeah, keep working that until you have this measurement, and from there we are going to stop increasing the width of our top. So for the next row, we are going to start working downwards. So you're going to attach your yarn. I'm still using this color because this is only one row and we are doing 2 rows of each color. So I'll attach my yarn here and chain up 3 and then go into the next chain 1 space and place 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets in the next chain 1 space, chain 1, 3 double crochets in the next chain 1 space, chain 1, 3 double crochets in the next chain 1 space, chain 1, 3 double crochets in the next chain 1 space, chain 1, 3 double crochets in the next chain 1 space. So we are literally doing the same exact pattern. The only difference is we have stopped increasing the width of our top. We are now giving it some more length. So keep placing 3 double crochets in each chain 1 space and separate the 3 double crochets by a chain in the middle. And then when you get to the corner, this is the corner, you're going to place 3 double crochets, chain 2 and 3 more double crochets, just like we've been doing in the previous rows. And then we are also going to work on this side. So keep placing 3 double crochets, chain 1, So since we are coming to the end of this row, remember we started the row from this corner. Excuse me. So we are going to end the row at this corner. So after here, after your 3 double crochets, you're not going to chain one. You're going to directly go into this space, this corner, with a double crochet, and you're going to chain up one and cut your yarn and pull through. So my yarn was done, that's why I didn't cut. So this is how your next row looks like, and the rest of your rows are going to look like this. So you're going to work your top until you have the length of the top that you want. So from here to here should be from the top of your chest, where you want your top to start from. Let me turn it around. Where you want your top to start from, up to where the skirt starts from. But you have to be careful about the stretch, because sometimes we may get a saggy fitting. So you don't want to do so many rows, and we don't want to do very few rows that our dress looks like we are squeezing in it. So you do the number of rows that you need for your top to comfortably sit on the skirt. But keep in mind, we still have to do a row or 3, I think around 3 to 2 rows at the top of the top. So don't make this so long. I'll end mine here. For those who don't know how to extend this, I explained it very well in the skirt tutorial, so you can go check it out. So let me explain from here, because this will be my very last row of the top, because I'm a size small. So you chain up 3 and then jump into this with 3 double crochets and continue to work the same exact pattern. Make a corner here, go down, and when you place your 3 double crochets here, don't chain one, just directly go into this space with a double crochet. Then keep repeating that row until you get the length that you need. So since this is the length that I need, I'm going to go ahead and level up these sides, just like we did for the skirt. So you're going to get your next color. Mine is green. And then we're going to attach it. We're going to first level up this side, then we shall level up this side. So let's start with one side. Chain up 3 and then jump into the next, chain one space with 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets in the next. So we are literally doing the same exact thing, though we are only working on one side first, then we shall go to the other side. And when you do your very last 3 double crochets here, just right before the corner, you're not going to chain one here, you're going to go directly into that chain 2 space with a double crochet, and then you're going to chain up 3 and turn your work, and then go into the next chain 1 space with 3 double crochets, chain 1, 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 chain 1, 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets here. And when you're coming to the end of the row, you're going to skip over all these stitches and just place a double crochet in the last space. Then you're going to chain up 1 and switch to your next color. So I'm going to grab my next color and continue doing that until I run out of stitches, because your rows are going to keep reducing. Chain 3, go into the next chain 1 space here, place a total of 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets in the next chain 1 space, chain 1, 3 in the next chain 1 space, chain 1, 3 double crochets in the next chain 1 space, chain 1, 3 double crochets in the next chain 1 space, chain 1, 3 in the next, and this is our very last chain 1 space, so you'll go directly into the last space with a double crochet. So what we are trying to do is to make our top flat at the bottom, so you can see this. So we're going to keep repeating these rows and try to always remember to swap colors whenever you're done with your second row of a color. So I'm still on this same exact color, so chain 3, turn your work, go into the next chain 1 space, and place 3 double crochets, chain 1, 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 3 double crochets. So we are coming to the end of the row, and you're going to skip all this and go into that last space with a double crochet. Then you're going to chain 1 and switch your yarn. So I'm back to green. Make a slip knot, attach your yarn where you left off with the previous color. Okay, so I kept swapping colors. The clip got erased by mistake, but we kept doing the same exact thing until we were out of stitches. And I'm going to green right now, and I'll attach it here where we left off with this color. Chain up 3 and skip over all these 3 stitches and place a double crochet at the end here. So that's the end of this side. I'm going to cut your yarn, pull through, and this is what we have right now. You can see the bottom of our top is flat on one side. So we're going to go ahead and do the same exact thing as we've done on this side onto this side. So all you're going to do is to attach your yarn. So we attached our yarn here, and you're going to just rewind the video to this point where we attached our yarn at this corner and kept reducing until this side met this side at this point. So rewind the video and balance the two sides, and I'll meet you when you have something that looks like a rectangle. So I managed to balance both sides, and this is how the work looks like. It looks more of a rectangle. Yeah, so we've balanced this side and this side. We've leveled them up, and this is the side that's going to sit on our skirt. So what we are going to do is to go ahead and do this same exact piece for the back side of our top. So same exact measurements and everything for the back side of our top. Okay, so I'm back and I did an identical piece, identical to the very first piece that we made. You can see that we have two pieces right now. One is for the back side and one is for the front side. So let me give you a few tips. This one was from armpit to armpit, from this corner to this corner was from armpit to armpit. But then when you stretch it, it should be able to stretch to half the widest measurement of your bust. So my widest is around 35 inches, which divides into, when divided by 2 is around 117.5. So it should be able to stretch to 17.5 inches here. If not, then you're going to have to do some extensions on the sides so that you get that measurement for at least for the one piece, and then multiplied by 2 will be able to fit you perfectly well. So for me this is just enough. And now the next thing we're going to do is to go ahead and cut these loose strands laying around the whole piece. So I just do a double knot and cut. So you'll be having around 2 colors at every point. So you just go ahead and tie into a knot and then cut them off like that. So we're going to get rid of all these, and then I'll get back when my work is a bit neater than this, and then I'll show you the next step from here. Okay, so we've gotten rid of all the loose strands, and this is how our two pieces look like right now. We are going to fold them and put them aside, and we're going to be working on the sleeves next. So for the sleeves, you're going to start off with your green color or whatever color you're using, and you're going to chain up 6. 1 2 3 4 5 6, then double crochet 3 times into the very first chain that you made. After your 3 double crochets, you're going to chain 2, place 3 more double crochets in that same chain like that, and then chain up 1 and place 1 last double crochet in that same chain. After that, you're going to chain 1 and cut your yarn. So that's the end of row 1 of the sleeves. Then for row 2, you're going to grab your next color. So we're going to start working 2 rows. So grab your next color, color B, and attach it where you left off with color A. and then chain up 3 and 1 more chain, which counts as a double crochet, chain 1, place 3 double crochets in that very first space, chain 1, 3 double crochets in the chain 2 space, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets in that same chain 2 space. And then you're going to chain 1 and place 3 double crochets in this very last space, 1, 2, and 3, chain 1 and 1 last double crochet in that same space. So it's like we are doing the same exact thing as the top and the skirt, for those who watched the skirt, but then something changes on row 3 of the sleeve. So chain up 3 and then chain 1 more, which counts as a double crochet, chain 1, and then turn your work, place 3 double crochets in the very first space, then chain 1, and now we are introducing a corner at this point. So place 3 double crochets in the next chain 1 space, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets in that same space. So we have introduced a corner at this point, and right now this is another corner. So chain 1, place a shell in that shell below, so 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets. So that's the second corner over 3. So there's a corner here and there's a corner here, then chain 1, place another corner here in this space. So we are placing a shell, which is 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 double crochets. So after this, you're going to chain 1 and place 3 double crochets in the very last space, chain 1, and 1 last double crochet. So this is how your work will look like. So after this, you're going to chain up 1 and cut your yarn. That's the end of row 3. And for row 4, you're going to grab your next yarn, which is color A. Since we've done 2 rows of color B, so that means we are swapping to color A. Insert your hook where you left off with color B, and attach your yarn, chain up 4. This counts as a double crochet, chain 1. Skip over all this. We are not going to be working here anymore. So skip over all this and go into this chain 1 space and place 3 double crochets. Chain 1. This is a shell, so it will get a shell. A shell is 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets, all in that same space. Chain 1, 3 double crochets in the next chain 1 space, chain 1. This is a shell, so it will receive a shell. So place 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets, like that. Then chain 1, place 3 double crochets in the next chain 1 space, chain 1. This is a shell, so it will receive a shell. So 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets, After this, you're going to chain 1 plus 3 double crochets in the next chain 1 space, and then chain 1 and skip over all this and go into the last space with a double crochet. So we are trying to balance what's happening on this side. So you can see this chain 4, which counted as a double crochet chain 1. So that means we had to end with chain 1 double crochet in the very last space. So after that, you're going to row 5, and for row 5 you're going to chain up 3, turn your work, plus 3 double crochets. So now we have to just place 2 because the chain 3 counted as a stitch. So we have 3 double crochets here in this space, chain 1, 3 double crochets in the next chain 1 space, chain 1, a shell in the shell below, so 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, all in that same chain 2 space, then chain 1 and then 3 double crochets in the next chain 1 space, chain 1, 3 double crochets in the next chain 1 space, chain 1, 3 double crochets in the next chain 1 space. Sorry, so this is a shell, so it will get 3 double crochets, chain 2 and 3 more double crochets. Like that. And then you're going to chain up 1 and place 3 double crochets in the next chain 1 space, chain 1, 3 double crochets in the next chain 1 space, chain 1, 3 double, this is a shell, so it will get a shell, so 3 double crochets, chain 2 and 3 more double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets in the next chain 1 space. And so we're coming to the end of the row, and we started the row with 3 double crochets in this space, so that means we end the row with chain 1, 3 double crochets in the last space. So what you do on the other side is exactly what you do on this side. And after this, you're going to chain up 1 and then cut your yarn. So this is how it looks like. We are going to keep building this until this measurement is the circumference of our hand when stretched, of our arm when stretched. So keep working this. So we are going to our next color, and for me it's color B. So attach your yarn where you left off with color A, and from now on all the odd rows will look the same and all the even rows will look the same. So this is row 6, what we are going to do. So row 6 should look exactly like row 4. So for row 4 we chained 4 at the beginning, so you're going to do the same exact thing. Chain 4, go into the next chain 1 space and place 3 double crochets. So you can see row 4, which is this, resembles this row 6. Chain 1, 3 double crochets in the next chain 1 space, chain 1, place a shell in this shell, so 3 double crochets, chain 2 and 3 more double crochets. After this, chain 1, 3 double crochets. In the next chain 1 space, chain 1, 3 double crochets in the next chain 1 space. So by now you should have gotten the hang of the pattern. Every chain 1 space gets 3 double crochets, and every shell gets a shell. So continue doing that until the end of the row. And you should know that we have 3 shells in every row. We have the middle ones, the middle one, and the 2 side ones. So I'm just doing the same exact thing until the end of the row. So I'm going to place a shell here, 3 double crochets, 3 double crochets, and then I'll chain 1 and place 1 last double crochet in the last stitch. So I've finished this row, which was row 6. I had to end with chain 1 and 1 last double crochet in the last stitch. And then chain 3, turn your work, and row 7 should look the same exact as row 5. So you can see we chained 3 and then place 2 more double crochets in this first space. So that's what we are going to do. And after that, you're going to chain 1 and go into the next chain 1 space with 3 double crochets, chain 1. So that's all that we are going to do for this row. Just keep in mind that odd rows look the same and the even rows look the same. From this point, don't look at the first 3 rows. Starting from the 4th, let me see. Starting from the 4th row, the odd rows look the same and the even rows look the same. So when you're lost, just backtrack and see where you are and you'll pick it up from there. So this is row 7. It will resemble row 5. So keep doing that until you get the circumference of your arm, the widest part of your arm, because these sleeves are not going to be that tight. They'll just hold the widest part of your arms, then they'll be free towards the end of the sleeves. So I'm going to keep working this until I get the circumference of my arm. So I needed a total of around 8 rows to get the circumference of my arm, which is around 11 to 12 inches. So you can see that it's around there, 11 to 12, and this is the size of my arm. So at this point I'm going to stop increasing the width of the sleeve, and I'm going to start making it longer but not bigger. So attach your yarn at this corner, chain up 3 and go into the next chain 1 space and go in there with 3 double crochets, chain 1, go into the next space with 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets in the next chain 1 space. So I had to use green because we need 2 rows of green and I had only done 1. Then chain 1, 3 double crochets in the next chain 1 space, chain 1, 3 in the next, 3 chain 1, 3 in the next, chain 1. The shell in the middle will always get a shell, so we are no longer doing the side shells, we only have the middle shell. So the middle shell will get a shell, which is 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, chain 1, go into the next chain 1 space with 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets in the next, chain 1, 3 double crochets in the next chain 1 space, chain 1, 3 in the next, chain 1, 3 in the next, chain 1, 3 double crochets in the next chain 1 space, and then in this corner you're not going to chain up 1, you're going to go directly into that corner and place a double crochet, then chain up 1 and cut your yarn. So we are done with the second row of green. We are switching to our next color. So from this point onwards, we are going to just keep working from here to here. We are working like it's like an arrow, it's like a V. We are no longer going to the sides. So I'm going to show you this row. Attach your yarn where you left off with the previous color. Attach your yarn, chain up 3, and then go into the next chain 1 space. And this is the row that we are going to keep continuing until you get the length that you need. Chain 1, 3 double crochets in the next, chain 1, 3 double crochets in the next, chain 1, 3 double crochets in the next, chain 1, 3 double crochets in the next chain 1 space, chain 1, 3 double crochets in the next space, chain 1, place a shell in this shell, so 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets, all in that same chain 2 space. So when you're done with that, you're going to go onto this side and do the same exact thing. Chain 1, 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets in the next chain 1 space, chain 1, 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets in the next chain 1 space, chain 1, when you get to the end there's a space here, so you directly go into it with a double crochet without chaining 1 in between. And then we're going to the next row where you'll chain up 3 and then move into the next chain 1 space. So that's the row that we are going to keep repeating until this length measures the length of the sleeve that you want, from the middle up to the tip of the sleeve. So we're going to keep building it until you get the length of the sleeve that you want. So I'm going to keep working and I'll let you know how many that I'll do, how many rows I'll do. So I ended up doing a total of 21 rows right from the beginning. Here we have a total of 21 rows, and now we're going to get rid of these strands just like we did for the body of the top. Just make small knots and cut them off. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, then I'll meet you guys back when I have a clean sleeve without this, the loose strands. So after cutting off your loose strands, it's time to level up these parts so that they don't have the pointed part. I hope you still remember how to do that, because we've done it on the skirt, we've done it on the top. So you just attach your yarn where you left off with your previous yarn, and then chain up 3, go into the next chain 1 space with 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets in the next chain 1 space, chain 1, 3 double crochets in the next chain 1 space, chain 1, 3 double crochets in the next space, chain 1, 3 double crochets in the next, chain 1, 3 double crochets in the next chain 1 space, and then the next space is the chain 2 space. So you're not going to chain 1, you're going to go directly into that space with a double crochet, and then chain up 3 and turn. So we're going to first work on this side, balance it, and then move to the other side. So I hope you've remembered how to do this. That's all we're going to do until we run out of stitches, and I'll get back when I'm out of stitches. Alright, so I'm done evening out both sides of the sleeve, and this is what it looks like right now. So this is the upper part of the sleeve, the one that's going to be on the upper arm, and then it will be folded like this, and then we shall attach this to make a tube where our arm is going to pass. So at this point I want to get a short string of green, something very short, and then I'm going to tie it at this point. Before we started elongating, so at this corner here and at this corner, and I'll tie this. You can make 3 knots or 2 knots and then cut. So we've joined this point here. I'll let you know why, because this part, these 2 parts are going to join to the body of the top, both on this side and on this side, and then we shall just continue to join up the top downwards, and then we shall join up the sleeve separately. So same applies to this side. I'll join this part to this part. This is totally optional, it's not compulsory. I just do it to guide me so that I don't mess up stuff. So since this was this color, I'm going to get a short string of the same color and I join it like that. Like that. And now you're going to get the right side of your work. Identify it, and then you're going to work a row of single crochets all the way across here. So you have to make sure the stitches almost balance. So I'm going to get my green yarn because that's my joining yarn. You can use a tapestry needle if you wish, but I'm going to be using a single crochet. So attach here in this space, chain 1, single crochet in that same exact space, then keep attaching stitch to stitch using a single crochet. So single crochet, single crochet, single crochet, and then 1 single crochet in the space. Then continue to join one side to the other. Okay, single crochet, then single crochet in the space, and single crochet, single crochet, single crochet, then single crochet in the space, single crochet, single crochet, single crochet. So just make sure the stitches are aligned perfectly well, so you can see how our work looks like on the outside. So after this, we are going onto the other side and we are doing the same exact thing. So single crochet, all the way across until you get done with the row. Continue to single crochet once in each and every stitch. So don't forget to go into the spaces also. So single crochet, single crochet, single crochet, single crochet in the space. So we are coming to the end and you're going to place 1 single crochet in that space. So I'm sure everyone has their own look of their way of joining, because we have different measurements. That means we didn't do the same exact thing. So right now we've joined this, and this is our armpit area, and it's off shoulder. And now we are going to go ahead and attach our yarn and join the top, the side of the top, and then also go ahead to join the side of the sleeve. So attach here, single crochet. We are going to make a row of single crochets, so 2 single crochets in every space. So that's done. Then 2 single crochets in this space. So we are joining this panel to this panel. So 2 single crochets in the next, 2 single crochets in the next, 2 single crochets in the next, all the way down until we are done with the stitches, until the rows are done. Two single crochets. We're still on the inside part of the top. Make sure you're doing all these joinings on one side so that when you turn your top you don't have any seam lines. So after this you're going to chain up one and cut your yarn, and this is how your work should look like at this point. We have joined this part, and now we are going to go ahead and join this part. So turn your work to the wrong side. So right now I have to pull through this, and then start to join the sleeve into a tubular structure. So I join here and do single crochets. So 2 single crochets in each and every row. This top can really take some time, but it's all worth the wait and the patience. So keep working that until the end of the row, placing 2 single crochets in each and every row, joining both sides. So you can see this is where we have this, it's where we have this, it's where we have this. So this is the inside part of our top. Okay, so keep joining with 2 single crochets in each and every row. So we're almost coming to the end. And I'm placing my very last 3 single crochets. The last one gets 3 single crochets. All the rest get 2 single crochets. Chain up one and cut your yarn. Pull through. So I'm going to turn my work to the right side so that you can see how it looks like at this point. This is how my work has come out. I'll get rid of those strands later on when I'm doing the final touches. And this is how that off shoulder bit looks like. We're going to still do something here. Don't worry about the untidy part, but this is the main structure of the top. So you're going to go ahead and make another sleeve exactly like this, and then join it the same exact way to this side, and then I'll meet you at that point when you have joined this second sleeve and also seamed up this side of the top, and we have a complete top, and then we shall pick it up from there. So I'm sorry I had skipped out a part. So when you have your sleeve like this and your top like this, we're going to go to the inside part and we're going to join this to this. that line to this line. So I had skipped it out. I'm very sorry. Skipped my mind. But then you're going to just make a knot. Grab your tapestry needle and then join this line to these ones of the sleeve, those ones. So we're just going into each and every stitch, joining them. So the good thing, we have a row of single crochets on both sides. So you just go into one stitch on one end and one stitch on the other end. If you have a better way of joining, you can still use the single crochet, but I thought it would be bulky. That's why I switched to a tapestry needle, because we already had rows of single crochets. So keep joining until the stitches are done. You can leave it open if you feel like your top is comfortable like that. But for my case, the top was a bit big, so I decided to close it up so that I get a better fitting for my top. Okay, here we are, coming to the end. So this is done. I'm going to cut my yarn and just make a tight knot with one of the strands that was lying around, like that. So we've closed up this part. It's no longer open, but it's still off shoulder. So go ahead and do that same exact thing on this side. Okay, so now that we are done with both the sleeves, this is how our work will look like. This is one of the sleeves and this is the second sleeve. And now I went ahead to do a total of 2 double crochets in each row. You can see that I went all the way around, and when I reached this part, I went to one side of the sleeve all the way around, and when I reached here at the end of the sleeve, I got to the other side, like that. So I did a total of 2 double crochets in each and every space, each and every row. So go ahead and do that, and this is what you'll come up with. And then right now we are going to be working at the end of the sleeve. You can see this, I did one of the sleeves, so we're going to work on the other side. I'm going to be showing you how. Okay, so you're going to grab your green yarn or your color A or your edging color, whatever color you've chosen to use, because some of you may use many colors instead of 2. So attach your yarn, chain up 3, and place 2 double crochets in each and every row. So keep placing 2 double crochets in each and every row all the way around the sleeve. So this is the part that's going to be like on your wrist. So go on placing 2 double crochets in each and every row. So we're almost coming to the end of the round. And you're placing 2 double crochets in the very last round, the very last row. So we've come to the end of the round, and you're going to go on top of the very first chain 3 that you made and make a slip stitch. And then you're going to chain up 3 and do front post double crochets all the way around. So only front post, so go in and out around the post and do a double crochet. So that's what we are going to repeat all the way around for the number of rows that you want. So for me, I did a total of 2 rows. The very first one of plain double crochets, and then the second one of front post double crochets, and that's it for that sleeve. This is what you'll have. So go all the way around with front post double crochet. This time we're not alternating between front and back, only front post. Okay, so we're coming to the end, and I'm placing my very last front post double crochet, and then I'll go on top of the very first chain 3 and make a slip stitch, chain up 1 and cut my yarn. So we're done with the second sleeve. You can see they look identical, they look the same. So you're going to get rid of these strands. I'm going to just make tight knots here and cut off this loose strand, and this is how your work will look like on the sleeves. And now we are going to come back to the upper part of the top. If you're comfortable with this fitting, then that's really good. You can attach straps if you want, but I'm not going to do that because I want my dress to be off shoulder. So I'll go to the back side, and then I'm going to get this elastic strand. You can see it can stretch, and get this measurement across from this sleeve across this sleeve, and then double it. That length times 2, because it's going to go all the way around like that. And then the other thing that you're going to do is cut this. So that's times 2. Sorry, before cutting, just mark this point. I don't know how I'm going to mark it. Let me just get a pin here. This is the point where it makes the distance times 2. Then you're going to get your measuring tape and reduce this length by a certain number of inches. So I want to reduce mine by 10 inches so that it can stretch to my measurement comfortably well, but still a bit tight, because you don't want your top to slide off your chest, especially for the smaller sizes. So if you're a bigger size, you're going to reduce this length by a smaller number, maybe by around 7 or 5. But for me, I'm a size small, and this top can easily run down my chest, so I'll reduce it by 10 so that it's tight enough. So I'm going to measure 10 inches from that pin and cut. Don't stretch that elastic strand, just leave it like this and mark that point, and then you can cut. So this is what we are going to be dealing with right now. So I want to show you something. So if I fold it now, it's like this, but it doesn't make it to the end of the sleeve. So that part will be the one to stretch over to the end of the sleeve so that the top can fit us so well. But also make sure it's not like very, very tight, because it will get uncomfortable. So after this, you're going to get yarn and needle and attach this together. So I'm going to get a small needle and some little yarn to join these two together to form a ring. So I don't have black yarn, but I have some white yarn. So I'm going to just put this strand like this. Make sure it's not twisted, like that. And then I'm going to just go in and out of the other side. Be a bit careful because these needles are very small. At least mine is really tiny and it can easily get into your skin. So I'm using white yarn. I'm very sure it won't show because we are going to crochet this inside. We are going to crochet over this strand. Just find a suitable way to join these two together so that it forms a ring. So I want to show you how it looks like right now. Make sure even if you pull it, it can't get loose, because you don't want your top to be tight and then when you wear it, it snaps. So go in and out several times so that it's tight enough. Okay, so here we are. I think I'm done with this. I'm going to cut this and put away my needle. And this is what we have right now. This is the same exact thing that's going to go on top of our shoulder top. So you're going to get your yarn. I'm still going to use green, and you're going to go into each and every stitch, placing one single crochet but working over this elastic strand. So attach your yarn as you normally would. Attach. Okay, so you get your strand and then go into each and every stitch. So I'm going to just have this here, single crochet, go into the next stitch and single crochet. If you have a smaller strand, it would work better, but this is what I have and I have to work with it. So I'm going to just work with what I have. So we are single crocheting over this elastic strand all the way around. If you can, then you can easily go in the middle of the stitches, but I'm not going to do that. If the stitches are hard for you to find, you can just go in the middle of the stitches. So this is what I'm going to do all the way around. One single crochet in each and every stitch, but working around the elastic. So you can see this. You'll see the effect after I go all the way around. So continue going all the way around, and I'll meet you guys back when I'm coming towards the end of the round. So as I keep working, I notice that the elastic strand is almost done, but we still have to go all the way around this side. So as you work, keep pulling on this strand so that it can move through this single crochet row, because you have to go all the way around. It has to be enough for you to go all the way around your piece. So the more you pull on that strand, the more you notice that you will have gathers here at the top, which will make our top elastic. So keep pulling on that strand and make sure you go all the way around with it. So you can see this. So let me go all the way around until the end, and then I'll show you how my work turned out. So when you come to the end of the row, you can see this is my very last stitch. I'll do one last one here, and then I'll slip stitch into the very first single crochet that I made. Make a slip stitch there, and then chain up one and cut your yarn. So you're going to keep moving these stitches until the piece is balanced, because it may be folded more on one side than the other. So I can see that on this side, but you can see at the same time we didn't over pull it together, but it's stretchy. So this is how to attach an elastic strand for this top, so that it has a better fitting on your chest area and it doesn't slide down, especially for the smaller sizes. And now the next step is to show you how to join it to the dress. Alright, so here is my skirt, and I have a total of 96 stitches all the way around the waistband. That very last row, it has a total of 96 stitches. So you're going to note that down. That's for the skirt. And then the bottom of the top has a total of 18 spaces when we don't include this that middle gap. We're not going to include it. Okay, so you're going to find the most suitable way to join your top to the skirt. I just used a simple single crochet row on the inside, and I went all the way around, attaching the top to the skirt. And make sure you don't distort the arrangement of this dress. Remember, this is the exact middle section. It should go all the way up. So after that, the dress is complete, and I think this has been a very long tutorial, but I hope you guys liked it. Make sure to give it a thumbs up if you did, and I can't wait to see your versions of this dress. Make sure you tag me. I'll be linking my social media pages in the description box. And for those who haven't watched the skirt yet, the skirt tutorial is already up on my channel, and I'll be dropping a link in the description box so that you can go and also watch the skirt. And yeah, this is how the dress turned out. Thank you guys for watching. Have a good day. Bye.